In our previous session on the poem On Buying and Selling by Khalil Gibran, I think we stopped at discussing about the middlemen, right? The middlemen who are barren handed, and we also mentioned that what do these people do? They do not do any hard work, but instead they sell their words for another's labor. This is the line spoken by Khalil Gibran himself in the poem, that these people, the middlemen, they do not do any hard work. They only pay lip service, and they extract the fruits of hard work of other people, right? So previously we also discussed how the poet advises the other workers and traders and people of all other professions, different professional backgrounds, how to handle these middlemen, and um, how to put them into hard work by encouraging them to do the real hard work before they start reaping the benefits of others' labor, before they start reaping the fruits of other people's hard work. Okay, then the poet, in the conclusion of the poem and before concluding the poem, he further summons the traders to buy the gifts offered by the singers, the other people, like singers, dancers, flute players, and the gatherers of fruits and frankincense. Okay, these are the terms he uses in the poem to address the people who are engaged in other activities other than being engaged in any trade or profit making or money making activities, but their services are also to be equally evaluated and respected. Okay, so he says that though the above enlisted the spoken artists, they do not offer or sell any material artifacts as such, right? They do not offer any material concrete products, artifacts as such. Their arts actually serve as the sources of aesthetic value, right? Sources of aesthetic value and artistic pleasure in our lives. So that too is a kind of job, that too is a kind of a labor, wherein people provide us with entertainment, and they give us relaxation after a day of lots of hard work, right? So those labors, those artists and their works need to be equally acknowledged and given importance. Okay, so thus their services uphold the values of their own, indeed greater value of their own. Okay, because they give provide us those relaxing, soothing moments of our lives. Okay, and their renderings are, he calls them as raiment and food for one's soul. Okay, these are the words he uses for the labors of the artists as raiment, that is the clothing, and food for one's soul. That is, although their services appear to be fanciful, right, not very fruitful, and hence inconsequential, we may have this tendency to neglect the services of the artists, and people like singers, dancers, and painters, and flute players. These acts might sound inconsequential, not very of any serious gravity, but at the same time they play indeed a very greater role in our lives, to keep us motivated in life, to keep us engaged towards the pro life thoughts, pro life's attitudes. Okay, so this is how they also provide their own service, and we can't call it exactly the labor in concrete terms, that these are the kind of fruitful services provided by artists, which also have to be equally evaluated, valued, and respected and accepted, right? And they should also be rewarded. That's very important. That's exactly the poet says. Those services should also be acknowledged, and those peoples too should be rewarded. Okay. Then, in the conclusion, the poet draws on the conclusion that no one should go hungry or empty handed by end of the day. Okay, and that is exactly what he's trying to arrive at towards the end of the poem, whereupon the master spirit of the earth shall not sleep peacefully. It's like a parent does not sleep peacefully if children are sleeping hungry, right? So on similar lines, the poet says that the master spirit, the ruling spirit, the our preserving and protecting spirit of the master earth will not be at peace if any of the human beings or any of the living beings on earth indeed sleep hungry. So people should take care of one another, other human beings and also other living beings, that nobody is sleeping hungry. Each person should care for the other's needs. Okay, see how he kind of teaches us coexistence and kind of co-living with other human beings and also all other living beings of this creation. Okay, and that's where lies the actual greatness of Khalil Gibran's poetry. And the poet perceives the spirit of the earth as life sustaining force, okay, which is bountiful enough to satisfy the needs of the needy and downtrodden. Okay, and therefore he commends fairness on the part of traders and merchants in the distribution of their profits. Okay, so he kind of expects this fairness on the part of traders and merchants, that they should have a just and fair distribution of their profit. Okay, and only such fair distribution shall appease and make the master spirit of the earth happy to continue to overflow in its abundance. Okay, so this exactly what appeases and makes the master spirit of earth happy, so that it goes on blessing us with more of its bountiful gifts and more of its bountiful resources on which our sustenance overall depends. Okay, so now the next thing is we shall come to as in short terms, I shall just guide you regarding how to go about the comprehension of the poem on buying and selling. When it comes to the comprehension of the poem, the two major themes that you got to focus are ethical concerns. Okay, ethical concerns that need to be followed by the tradesmen, the merchants. And the second major theme of the poem that you got to focus when you write your answers is that nature, the abundance and the bounty of nature. That's the second foremost important theme that you got to focus when you write answers on this poem. Okay, there are chances that you might get a few paragraph questions, like 5 mark questions on the ethical issues, okay, to be followed by the traders. And you can you might also get the clubbed question, which in which you may have to write the like a summary overall theme of the poem. Then majorly you got to include these two themes of the poem. Okay, and the second thing is for 10 mark questions, to elaborate more on these questions, you can also bring in the poet's details of Khalil Gibran, which I am going to discuss in the forthcoming session, next session, that you can begin with as you begin your answer. Then you can also comment a little about what we discussed in the previous session regarding the style of Khalil Gibran's poetry, that he uses these short pithy statements. They sound like proverbs and aphorisms. Okay, they look like as if they are sermons given in some biblical text. Okay, and biblical influence when it comes to his writing style. and also how what Khalil Gibran's poetry, it sounds like poetic prose, and how it is poetic prose, not like traditional poetry which has perfect rhyme and rhythm. Okay, so you can focus on all these things when it comes to the comprehension of the poem. Buying and selling, you can focus both on the structural analysis of the poem, and you can also focus on the content, the two major themes of the poem, that is the ethical issues and also the bounty, the abundance of nature. See, I have been repeatedly telling you about these two major themes of the poem, because most of the questions is around, either they are paragraph questions like 5 mark questions, or maybe 10 mark questions which you will have to answer for more than 2 pages. They all surround in and around the same themes. Okay, and to make your answers a little lengthy and make them little systematic, you can begin by talking about the poet, then about the theme of the poem in 2 to 3 sentences. Then you can elaborate little bit on the uniqueness of Khalil Gibran's prose poetry. Okay, then you can situate it, how it is different from other poems. Then you can kind of go by line analysis. If you have a brief summary of the poem in the mind, you can also have some catchy phrases in mind, right, which you can remember directly from the poem. If not sentences or phrases, even few words directly taken from the poem will also do. Okay, like for example, when I was just explaining, when I was analyzing the poem, even in this session, I have taken examples, direct words from the poem, right? Like dancers, singers, then makers of frankincense, then people who kind of all kinds of names of artists, and the poem comes out with in the poem, right? So you can use the exact words from the poem, which actually in turn adds on to more value to your answers. Okay, so this is how you have to go by the comprehension of this poem.